I looked over at my husband, who was staring feverishly into his phone, incredibly supportive, but visibly uncomfortable as he tried to look at everything but what was happening 5 feet in front of him, which was me, on an examination table as my doctor gave me a vaginal ultrasound. Right ovaries? The nurse inquired. Diagnosis quiet, the doctor said. Left ovaries, the nurse inquired. And again, the doctor responded with quiet. At that moment, I didn't know the meaning of the word quiet in relationship to my ovaries, but I had a feeling it wasn't good. In my early 20s, I was focused on my career and only my career. I was going to be a successful actress and choreographer. And I guess I just figured everything else would work out somehow. By my mid-20s, I began truly walking with the Lord. And it was then, for the first time, that I developed a real desire for marriage and family. I knew I wanted to be married, and I knew I wanted sons, like my own team, 5 or 6 boys. By my early 30s, I had dated a couple of Mr. Maybes, but no Mr. Right. By my mid to late 30s, I had had my fair share of Mr. Wrongs, followed by some, are you for real right now? Commitment phobics, which of course put me in a dead panic at the possibility and the horror of turning 40 single. But it happened. The unthinkable happened. I turned 40 broke and single with no substantial career success to show for it. So I took a deep breath, trusted God, and kept moving forward. And then one day, it happened. My tall, chocolate, and wonderful came. I met him at the age of 40, and at the age of 41, months before we were set to be married, I began experiencing early symptoms of menopause. I didn't know what it was at first. I think that I thought my cycle was late just due to stress, or that for whatever reason I kept getting really hot and cold throughout the day. When I finally realized what was happening to me, I went to my soon-to-be husband immediately with a heavy heart and a get-out-of-jail-free card. I told him that apparently I was in perimenopause and that there was a strong possibility that I would not be able to have children, and that if he wanted to get out of the relationship and our impending marriage, that I completely understood and there would be no hard feelings. He looked at me and told me he loved me, and that if we had kids or if we didn't, he was okay, and that ultimately God was in charge. Our wedding day was beyond beautiful, and the first 2 years of our marriage was spent with me taking every holistic and spiritual route known to man to hopefully induce my body into fertility. I took herbs. I took tinctures, which are strong liquidated herbal concentrates. I used essential oils and fertility creams. I did acupuncture. I made daily affirmations. I prayed. I did faith-filled declarations. I did 21-day fasts, 30-day fasts, 40-day fasts. I did a vision board with pictures of pregnant women where I superimposed my face over theirs. I bought baby clothes as an act of faith. But still, no baby and no return of my period. So we went to the doctor and I laid on a table and he said, left and right ovary were quiet. As we sat in the doctor's office, he explained to my husband and myself that what was happening to me was natural. My body was in menopause, and my quiet ovaries simply meant that I had no eggs left. No eggs left. As we walked to the car from the doctor's office, tears streamed down my face, and I began apologizing to my husband profusely. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm sorry. For what? He said. For being born in 1971. It's okay, Aaron. It's okay. But it wasn't okay. It absolutely was not okay. Going into menopause at the age of 41 was my cross to bear. Why did my husband have to be punished with my inadequacy? Why did he have to be shackled to my lack, to my brokenness, to my woman interrupted? I mean, this dude is the Pied Piper of children. My nieces and nephew love him. His nephews and niece love him. He should have that legacy. He deserved to be a father, and my mother had the most wonderful mother, and she would be the best grandmother. And now, because of me, the two people who I love most in the world were gonna miss out on that. I had come from such a great legacy, my grandmother, my grandfather. I wanted to pass that on. And now, because of me, that wasn't gonna happen. I shut down. I went into a deep depression. For years, I've been allergic to dairy products. Yet I found myself at Trader Joe's buying huge blocks of cheese and eating them. I began doing things to my body that were very unhealthy and caused me a great deal of physical pain until one day in prayer, I heard the Holy Spirit whisper, "Stop. Baby, stop. Stop and give it to me." I mean, I knew I was sad. But until that moment, I didn't realize that I had been punishing my body for not doing what I wanted it to do. My husband came into the room and I sobbed in his arms as I shared with him what the Holy Spirit had just revealed to me in prayer. That day, I stopped. I stopped beating myself up. I stopped hating my body. I stopped trying to fix it. I stopped trying to force parenthood into our lives in my own strength, and I knew I needed a break. So I took it. I surrendered. And I chose to believe that those who desire to bless and love a child will be blessed with a child when and how the Lord chooses to bless them. But until that path presented itself, I was going to enjoy the gift of life that was staring me in the face every day. And so I did. And so I have. And so I am.